Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And a special thanks to Monsignor Schlag for the good work that he did in editing his book. And of course, all the great work that he's doing, both here in Santa Croce, but obviously St. Thomas and other places. So in this session and in the paper that I wrote for the book, there's a principle in the Catholic social tradition called the subjective dimension of work. And what I'd like to do is talk about the implications of this principle, particularly for organizational and institutional life. And in order for that to happen, maybe the best way to think about it is Thomas Aquinas will often speak about the idea of practical wisdom in terms of an age-old kind of method: see, judge, and act. And this is a method of the tradition, the Catholic social tradition. And so the idea is, first you have to see. You have to situate the subjective dimension of work within a location. Because one of the challenges of Catholic social thought is that often its principles are so abstract. The question is, what does it mean? I once talked to a executive of Catholic healthcare, and he says, how would I know if the common good fit me? Right? We sometimes describe these principles, but what do they mean? So we have to locate them. Second is, we need to have a deeper understanding of them. So we have to have a certain form of judgment. And the judgment will give us a deeper roots of what it is. The danger of the practitioner, by the way, is all they want to do is be useful. And that runs itself into other problems. And then, of course, obviously, we want to act. What does this look like in action? So those are the three things I like to do in that area. So seeing is a complex matter. And so if you want to see, you have to understand the location that you're talking about. And we were part of a document that the Vatican put forward called The Vocation of the Business Leader. And it talked about business and institutions in terms of three goods: good goods, good work, good wealth. And those three goods can be described this way. Good goods is making goods that are truly good, providing services which truly serve. Good work is about organizing work so that employees can develop their gifts and talents. And good wealth is creating wealth that's sustainable, that's also distributed justly. If you think about institutions, those are three really important goods of what the institution would be. But if you want to locate where the subjective dimension of work is, it's actually in this idea of good work. Because what the subjective dimension is trying to help us understand is what is the nature of work and what is good work. So defining that good work is not easy. It's very complex. There's many facets to it. But one way of getting at it is there's an organization called Gallup. They have what they call engagement studies. And so if you think about an organization, whether it's Santa Croce, University of St. Thomas, whether it's 3M or Microsoft, whatever, the question is, when you ask somebody what their work, it's not just that whether they're satisfied with it. It's actually, are they engaged with it? And that engagement is an interesting way. And what's interesting is engagement studies over the years have not produced great scores. Now, there are lots of reasons why people are disengaged, why there are quiet quitters. But much of it has to do, and you can look at the workers themselves, but also you can look at managers. But whatever it is, the one key thing is often people have very small views of what work is about. And that's why the idea of judgment, of having principles of judgment that can help one have a bigger view of what work is about. This is exactly what the Catholic tradition has been doing. And so this is where I think the idea of the subjective dimension of work is very, very helpful, because it does three things. It helps us to see work on three levels. First, it's just trying to say, well, what is work? Let's just look at the phenomenon of work. And this, as you know, John Paul II was very much keen on the whole idea of phenomenology. But then once you do that, you are already raising, well, what is good work? What's the moral dimension of work? Work has an ethical character to it. And then when you go into that, you see that there's actually even a deeper level of the spiritual nature of work, because it's a part of a created reality. We're participating not in a cosmos or chaos. We're participating in a cosmos. And work is part of that cosmos.